Today I'm going to show you my favorite way to modify a summer knit. With summer coming, I thought this would be a great quick tutorial to do in case there's any tank tops or tops that you're interested in knitting but you don't quite like the look. I have two tank tops here today. This is the Sailor Swift top by Kutavakika, and I believe this one is called the Totally Tank Top, which I knit last summer by Jessie Maid. And I love both of these patterns. They're both super fun and quick to knit. But one thing that I'm not a huge fan of in general for summer knits is ribbing on the bottom. So I like the ribbing here because there's ribbing elsewhere, and similar to like a sweater or something like that, you'll have ribbing around the neckline and the cuffs and then the bottom, which kind of ties it all together. But I've noticed that a lot of summer knits will have ribbing on the bottom, but there won't be ribbing other places. So for these tops, I like to do this type of folded hem, which I'm going to show you how to do today. The first thing you want to do is you want to knit double the length that you want your hem to be, because we're going to fold our hem inward like this. To begin working our folded hem, we want to look at the wrong side of our work. We want to find the purl bump at the top of our work where we want our folded hem to sit. We want it to sit just below that stripe. We want to find the purl bump that correlates with this first stitch. And we want to do that so that our hem isn't twisted. So to do that, you can see here that there are purl bumps correlating with each stitch, and these purl bumps face downward. So we want to just move slowly up our work, following those downward facing purl bumps until we find the one that sits along that stripe, which is actually this light blue color. And it's a bit hard to tell because I've woven in that end, but it is that purl bump facing downward. Now, when I work folded hems, this is just preference, but I prefer to work in purl bumps that are facing upward rather than downward, because it just makes it a bit easier to scoop up the stitch as we work. So rather than working in this purl bump facing downward, I'm going to move just to the next one right here. It really won't create any difference as far as whether it looks twisted, but it just makes it a bit easier to work along our edge. And we're going to knit that first purl bump and that first stitch together, normally just like this. And we're going to do the same thing for the next stitch. It's a bit hard to see here at the moment because of the woven in ends, but it's going to be this next purl bump here. Again, we're going to knit those two together. We're going to also bind off simultaneously, and this will create that nice folded hem that's a bit stretchier than a regular one. So we're going to pull the back loop over the front loop, just like this. And we've now bound off one, which you can see right there. And we're going to keep working in this pattern until we reach the end of our work. Okay, and I'm now reaching the last stitch, which is right here. And that is the folded hem. You can see it is a little bulky at the moment, but with a little bit of blocking, that's going to flatten right out. So I am going to block this, and I'll show you guys the finished product tomorrow.